Okay, welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding today in Chulin Daf Kuf Chof. That's the Daf of the day, Kuf Chof, milestone. The Gemara tells us we're going to be starting in the two dots on the Kuf Chof Amud Aleph. About a third down in Amud Aleph, we got to the word V'aroiteh. I want to just say, I said something yesterday. I either said a mistake or I said it unclearly. So either or it was wrong. Today, this morning, when I was giving the shir, it hit me that I confused the two things.
He's in black, but he corrected you.
Oh, the Gemara tells us, the Gemara on the end, we had two ways the Gemara brought the Machlekes of Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish regarding a nim, regarding a seir, regarding here. So the confusion is the Gemara brought it on the Brisa, and the Gemara brought it on the Mishnah. It's not exactly the same Machlekes if it's on the Brisa or on the Mishnah. That's the mistake. In the Brisa, the Gemara said the Machlekes of Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish is a nimo, is a seir, a yad, or not a yad. But a shomer, everybody agrees that seir can be a shomer. That's what the Gemara said, the Gabe, the Machlekes we said in Amud Beis. And the Amud Aleph here on top, when the Gemara spoke about the Mishnah, the Machlekes in Rish Lakish wasn't regarding if Nima is a yad, but Machlekes was if Nima is a shomer. If the hair is a shomer. That was the Machlekes, a different Machlekes. So in Amud Beis, the Machlekes was it a yad? Was it we find a place where it is? That's a shomer. Then the Gemara now brought a Machlekes, is it a shomer? You find a place where yad is okay? It's a yad. So two different ways to understand Machlekes Rish Lakish, just to emphasize that point. Okay. So the Gemara V'aroiteh. So we mentioned we're going after the second word of the parak. The first word of the parak is, how does the parak start? Ha'or. Second word of the parak. Now we get to the second word. We're in the first word. Second word is Aroiteh. What is Aroiteh? Says the Gemara, my Aroiteh, O my Rava, Shumano. So when say what does it mean Shumano? Shumano is the fat that it's on, like a little fat, where it's on like soup. Well, Abaye, who absolutely told me to Masarta. Well, why are you telling me? What's the Mishnah say? Which things join the food to give a shear? Why have to join the food to give a shear? It's food itself. The shuman is the food itself. Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara. Ela chaylev the korish. We talk about chaylev the korish. Rashi explains it's leicho hayoytze min abosor shekolim gleiro. Some kind of a fat that comes out of the meat. Some liquid that comes out of the meat. It's not really food.
That kajil?
Yeah.
It's korish is kajil.
My year korish is the Gemara. Kilo korish. I mean, why has there be kajil? Tomash Lakish tzil shagabei yerek mitztarev l'kakisev is b'yom kippur. When you have a vegetable and you have some liquid coming out of the vegetable, like a juice coming out of the vegetable, that joins the vegetable to be the size of kakisev is b'yom kippur. So why do I need kajil? So the Gemara also mishum yisubi daito. There, you're going basically Yeshua Das. Yeshua Das, you have food, you have another part of the food, all joined together. But Haka, Mishum, it's Tarufi. I want to join this as one food. Food can join with food. If it's not Kajil, it's not food. So the Gemara is telling us over here that we have Yom Kippurim, even liquid can be food. Here we're talking about food. It has to be food. Now, there's another level, as we should point out over here, that we have a din that food and drink don't join together in Yom Kippur. It's a communal ma'aseh. If you have a person, who's sick, and he has to eat shiurim b'Yom Kippurim, so we tell him, eat pachas b'kashir, drink pachas b'kashir. Eat pachas b'kashir, drink pachas b'kashir. Because by doing that, you always are, the achila v'shtiyah don't mitzaref. So, as we should point out, shtiyah is a different level. Drink does not join food. But when it's coming out, it's like a sauce coming out of the food, that does join the food. When it is a food itself, then it joins it to be the shear. Okay. Says the Gemara.
So the juice by the vegetable is part of the food?
Yeah, it's part of the food for Yom Kippur, not for the shear of oichlim.
And the juice by the meat?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Kipo. It says kipo in the Mishnah. What is kipo? My kipo marabo firmo. What is that? So Rashi explains that there's like a little small pieces of meat that go to the bottom of the pot. That's food. It's like another piece of meat. Talk about a spice. So we learn there. This is a Mishnah that we're quoting from Maseches Menachos. So we learned it in previous Masechta. There was blood, right? And he congealed it. Usually blood is a liquid. But he made it solid. Or, he took the fat, and fat is usually congealed. But he melted it. The gomoy, and he drank it, chayiv. Right? So he changed the form of how it is, he's still chayiv. I understand when you congeal something, you make it more kosher. You make it more like food. It says you have to eat, that's not eating, that's drinking. If you melt the chelif. Nefesh is shoyse, drinking.
What does that mean?
When it says in the word nefesh in the pasuk, it says, why nefesh b'achilas? Why is this nefesh? Nefesh going to tell you even drinking. Why is nefesh going to tell you even drinking? So Rashi says a big yisoid. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, the line starts with the word ha'ur. It's about a third from the bottom of the Rashi. And the Matchil is le'rabu is a shoyse. Says Rashi, midichtiv v'nichesor nefesh, nefesh mashma, kol dovar miyashiv daito shalodom. Nefesh means it satisfies him. V'afilu shoyse, k'moy im yesh es nafshichin, shloshet taiva v'koyes ruach sha'nefesh neheno mimeno. So when it says nefesh, it means that you have pleasure from it. Not necessarily you will be full from it, but you have pleasure from it. And that includes shoyse. This goes into Indian that drinking, well down, if I got another source, the drinking, but it's also medically true, drinking goes to your throat. You feel it in your throat, you're dry. Eating goes to your stomach, fills you up. Drinking doesn't fill you up. Drinking satisfies your thirst, which comes from a different place. So the
doctor, is that right? Doesn't the drink
the desire to drink doesn't come from hunger. It comes from dryness. So Rashi says nefesh is loshen rotzoin. Rotzoin is a drink. I want it. Not that you need it. It's a difference.
No. Drinking is also about need.
Yeah, of course. But I think the rot. Of course, you need to drink.
Of course, you need to eat.
Yes. So, the shaila is where the desire comes from. Does the desire come from the need? The desire comes from the want.
Yeah, desire comes from the need.
So by drinking is different.
No, I'm talking about drinking.
Okay. Rashi says differently.
Okay.
So
somebody. What?
When it says somebody is
yeah, that's why tzoyim is lashon tzimoin. Why is that lashon hunger?
Son.
No, but if somebody's dying of thirst, what's the word? Tzama?
Yeah, tzama means thirst.
So is that the throat?
No, tzama means thirst. But at tzoyim, fast is called lashon tzoyim. Why lashon tzoyim and lashon rov?
Right.
because it reflects the desire of Adam. Adam needs, he wants it. He needs it too. But what's bothering him is his want is not being satisfied. Same. Okay. Says the Gemara, same thing we find by chometz. If you take chometz and you melted it and you drink it, you made a liquid into it. Im chometz zu onish kares. It's chayav kares and eating chometz this way. Imatzu ein adam yoytze b'yedei chometz pesach. Matzah does not work if it's liquid. V'shu imatzu ein adam yoytze b'yedei chometz pesach lechem oinu machmonu v'aylav lechem oinu. That's to be lechem oinu. It's not lechem oinu. Right? The Rat Tezri points out it's not because of, you could have just said because it says achila. It's not achila. It's drinking. But
it says achila, and Isra achila in the Torah means drinking too.
So the Gemara says no. The Gemara said before.
That means
Choichel is only achila, not drinking. Oh, that's what the Gemara was asking. So dam has to be as specific, even though it's liquid. There it says losheichel koshka when it's congealed. But something which is
it's an avela, the second called avela. The avela.
This has to be. That's just has to be solid.
You blend it. It's.
Well, the Gemara said no. That's exactly what the Gemara said.
I know what the Gemara said, but
so the Gemara says that chaylev, if you blended ichuy shabi, unless you have a special drasha.
Right.
So the Gemara says the drasha is nefesh. That was the drasha b'chaylev. What about matzo? So for positive to tell you that you're yoytze matzo, you're not yoytze matzo. Why not? It's more brings because of lechem oini. It's not lechem oini. It's lechem oini means it's a certain type of bread. It's not bread. It's liquid.
What about carbon pesach?
Kol chicken.
Why kol chicken? Should be chila. It doesn't say.
Yeah, you can't make liquid.
No, but you should be able to be yoytze carbon pesach.
No, it has to be tzli. It can't be anyway.
You tzli it, and after you do that, you pulverize it. You blend it.
Maybe it could. I don't know. Look, I don't know if it will be different. Now, so gabi matzo, you're not yoytze. Clearly. What about the gabi chometz? You're either aveiro. Says the Gemara, you do. He does. So why? So. What about achila? It's not to be eating when you drink it. Says the Gemara, same idea. Nefesh is the gabe that even if you drink it, it's a problem. You said, what do you say? You said if we trade for an avail. Avail is the next part of the Gemara. Tani nami gamin if us oif tor kegam. But avail of oif. Him chol boor. He melted it in the fire. Tommy, the chamator in the sun. No, sorry, it says achilo. Even drinking. That's why the sun should be different. The sun doesn't consider to be melting, consider to be that it's spoiled. The sun ruins it. So that's why that's different. But each one of them has the word nefesh shu'avas ha'shoyse.
It's not considered the veil.
What?
So it's not considered the veil anymore.
It is because you have a special limud.
No,
nefesh.
You're saying from the sun.
The sun got spoiled. It's not available.
It's not considered.
Yeah. Say what tzrichi. Because of mona chaylev chometz asmin. We might only chaylev. I've now learned chometz from it. Why not? Shekel lo yoyso lo shas hakosher. Chaylev was always also. Chometz was mutter and became also. Nevelo, so last minute you can't learn nevelo from chaylev. Shekel on shkares on chaylev you have cars. One is have cars. Because of one chometz can't learn from it. Chaylev last minute shekel lo to mifloli. Chaylev, some chaylevs are mutter. We'll see soon. We're going to address it. Chayes. But chometz is always also. Nevelo last minute you can't learn nevelo from chometz. Shekel on shkares. My chometz is cars. Because of one of nevelo, anach last minute you can't learn from nevelo. Shekel mitamo. Nevelo causes other things to be tummy. Chometz not, and chaylev not. Says Chadam Chadam last. Understand you can't learn one from another. Teisi Chadam Chadam. Why don't you learn one from two? I taste it. What will be? Learn it to one of nevelo, but teisi me'anoch. Don't learn from nevelo. If I don't write nevelo, learn from the other two. Ma'ala no shkenon shkars. Chaylev and chometz is cars. Learn to one of the chometz teisi me'anoch. Don't write chometz. Ma'ala no shkenon loyselim shas kosher. They were always also chaylev and nevelo. Mashen ken chometz was mutter. Right, we shouldn't really point out the question. Nevela was always also no. It used to be mutter before. So we say no. It was not mutter b'achila until you don't check it. Here it never was mutter. then there's chametz is always is every chametz is asur, every nevela is asur. But chaylev there's some chalav in the mutter. What is chaylev shuto michloloi? Maybe you mean that the fat of an animal goes to the mizbeach. Says the Gemara, also nevela is. What is nevela? When you shecht a bird, how do you do it? You do it with the melika. Melika is usually nevela. Here it's mutter. Hele chaylev chaya lehedrit. We do chaylev chaya. Like we said, chaylev chaya is mutter. So when nevela nami shtori melika the chada soiv the koyanim. You want to talk about hedrit? Yeah, melika the koyanim can eat it. Meaning, we don't find by hedjot the chaylev is mutter, by the chomet is mutter, or nevela is mutter. But chaylev you do find by hedjot is mutter, because you can eat chaylev of a chay. Shaila is, what about, I koyanim eat chaylev, eat melika, eat nevela. That's not considered a big hedjot. It's meshuchan gavoya kazoch. Birds that are melika on it. So you say, oh, the nevela is utal hedjot. It's not utal hedjot. It's utal gavoya, like Kosh Baruch Hu gives it to Koyan. It's not considered to be that they're individuals.
It's not nevela. The fact that the matter is, it makes it not nevela. You can't say
no, but that's the nevela.
Malika b'chulin is a nevela. But Malika b'hegdish.
It's a good area. The Achronim point out for me. You see that it's a din nevela even b'kosher. And I mean, the sugi is not from here. The sugi is on menachas. But yeah, good area. So we find this mutter somewhere. Like you can say, chaylev chay is not a real chaylev. The isser is not here. So you're telling me that the tmeim is coming to add by shrotzing, there also be oyser, the sauce, the liquid, the kippah, lamali, ligmur me'ani. Just learn from all these things if it's liquid is a problem. So what's tzrichi? You want to learn from chometz, from nevelo, from what's the third thing? From chaylev, they're all require kazais. The pasuk that we're talking about is the sheretz. What's the size of a sheretz? Kadosh, size of a pea. That's why I don't want to learn from there. Says the Gemara, so if they want to be shotzi v'leisu anoch v'ligmor minayu. If sheretz is unique, that it's so small, so learn from there. Why do you need a pasuk by chaylev, chometz, and nevela?
It's small because it's
because what?
It's a bria.
No. Talking about even a big no. By sheretz, even a big no. Even a part of sheretz. Yeah, exactly. Says the Gemara, mean the same idea. The issue is even the smallest amount by shortzim. So that's why you can't learn from there to other isurim, which the isurim has to be at least kazais. So tevel is you didn't take a truma from it. Chodosh, the new grain that grew this year, but you still didn't bring the oimer. Ha'egdesh, that belongs to egdesh. Ve'ashvis, shmito. Ve'akilayim, when you have a mixed seeds. Kulo, mashkim yetzemem, kamoisom. If you have liquid coming out of them, they have the same din. Minolon. How do you know that? Chitem, maybe you learn from there. From the ones that we just said. Mala'anach, shiken isur habo me'ilov. All the ones that we mentioned, chometz comes on its own. Chaylev, it's born with it. Nevela, it dies, it comes on its own. Mashaken here, not everything is coming on its own. What is the Isur Ba Me'ilov? Rashi learns the Isur Ba Me'ilov is what? We're talking about Isur Sheinu Ba Me'ilov, it comes on its own, will be Tevel, Chodosh, Shvis. But Isur Sheinu Ba Me'ilov doesn't come on its own, is Hegdish. How does Hegdish become Hegdish? You have to make it Hegdish. It's not coming on its own. That's not Yisrael Me'elov. Taisus learns a little differently. Taisus learns, he learns that the kilaim is a sheinu ba'me'elov, because it has to come that you planted two things together. So how do you know something is not coming on its own? You know, immediately bikurim. Oh, this is parsha. Because bikurim, parsha kisavli, bikurim. You learn from bikurim. Says bikurim kufar minan. I know a bikurim the liquid is good enough. The Tanya Basi pre atamevi viatamevi mashke. You have to bring fruits to the base of English, not liquid. If he had no midocho and he brought grapes and he pressed them, minayin tovud loyma tovi. You could bring, once it's fruit, you can make it into liquid and bring it to the base of English for bikurim. So you see, so we'll get to it in a moment. Is all fruits or not? We'll see. So Gemara says, you see over here that when the liquid works, when the food turns to liquid, it's okay. You can't start with liquid. You can't bring it as liquid. You have to bring it as a fruit. But once it turned from fruit to liquid, it's good. From there you learn. So one second, bikurim is different than hegdish or kilayim. Here it's something special. You have to do kriya, aromi or vidovi. You have to be maniach in front of the mizbech. That's unique. Ela gomar mitruma. Truma is liquid too. The truma go we know that you have truma by liquid. The ikar should be bikurim. Gomar mar truma shotchei le bikurim. So bikurim and truma are mukish to each other, and they are and the liquid is also and Rashi added that they're not kamela because truma you have to make a truma, bikurim you have to make a bikurim. Mal truma shekin chavim aleo miso v'choimish. But truma if someone eats it is chayav miso, and he has to pay at 25%. Says the Gemara, "Ela gomer tavayu with truma will be bikurim." Here the Avim is calling not so clear. Okay, so we don't live with truma, we live with truma and bikurim. Says the Gemara, "That truma will be bikurim. She can chavim aleim miso v'choimish." Not so clear. What was the Avim in the Gemara? What was that? Can't live with truma because they have miso v'choimish. So learn truma and bikurim. They both have miso v'choimish.
Bikurim is also miso.
Yeah, because bikurim is called truma. Says the Gemara, "La asi mitruma v'chad me'anoch or mibikurim v'chad me'anoch." Tzad hashaveh, truma, and one of the list, chaylev, or nevelo. You do tzad hashaveh. That is not Yisrael Shabbat Me'elov. They're not Yisrael Shabbat Me'elov. Truma is not Yisrael Shabbat Me'elov. There is Yisrael Me'elov. Tzad hashaveh Shabbat, and the liquid is good enough. So we say from there we learn. So now it says in the Mishnah, Masechet Shumis, Tvash Atmorim, honey of dates, Fiyayin Tapuchim, apple juice, Choymet Sitavonios, some liquid coming out of grapes that are not fully ripe, Fishar Min Perish Trumo, and other fruits of Trumo, Blazer Mechayev Kerem Choymesh of Shua Poiter. So Blazer says liquid is like fruits, and Shua says no. You have to have fruits. It's not fruit. It's a liquid. Apple juice. So what's the book like? It's my play. So the more when you learn something, do you learn it fully from its coming, from its place, or you learn from there and you have to come and use the characteristics of what you're learning too? And is when you have A, you're learning from B. A takes from B exactly what B has. Or A learns the concept from B, but then it comes and you apply it to A the way A usually acts. What we're talking about over here? First of all, you learn the liquid is like the fruit, right? Bikurim and Bechuma. Umino, so let's go learn furthermore. Ma bikurim afilu shar minim, afchuma nami afilu shar minim. So, bikurim is not only grapes and olives. There's shiva samini. So also truma can be even liquids that usually don't make it. Usually, because the reason why, just to say this as akdama, wine and oil makes the fruit more chashuv. Also for brachas. So then maybe the liquid works. How do you know the other liquids will work? You learn from bikurim. Says the Gemara. I'm sure so. I don't even know. Learn from the concept. The liquid is like them. Meaning, what do you learn? You're learning that from the Ikra Tiyash V'Yitzor, because that's what it says in Ferish of the Pasuk. The Pasuk says Tiyash V'Yitzor. Now, so, and if you look at Rashi, towards the end of the middle lines, Rashi says Tiyash V'Yitzor K'tiv Bo V'lei Shar Mashkim, V'anach Mashkim D'No Go B'Tshuma Udi Alfiru B'Bikurim. If you made them ready fruits, Truma, Nestru Mashko Yetzebem. Avashal Mashko Lechtibu Truma, Afilu Iksiva, Paris Atzulur. In other words, so what we learn from there is, where it says, Dorim Minov Ukiv you learn the concept of liquid is like fruit. But you go back to what it says about Truma. Truma says Tirish Veitzer, wine and oil. That's where you say that Mashko Yetzebem is the same thing. But how the other ones? Now Rashi already points out, we know that Truma spares the Rabbanon. This whole idea of doim mino muki b'hasro is usually an Xer Shava. When I learn Xer Shava from A to B, how do I learn it? Here's not Xer Shava. Here's all the Rabbanon. Says Rashi, you're right. It's really not Xer Shava. But because I'm learning this idea, the same way you say Xer Shava, doim mino muki b'hasro, I will use it for the Rabbanon as well. Because we know that someone learns everything from where we learn, so when I'm doing it in the Rabbanon, I'm also learning everything from there. And because you say you don't learn everything from there, so you have to come and use the concept for the Rabbanon as well. Says the Gemara, that's what you asked before. Bikurim, you say you can bring mashke, but only olives and grapes. Mani, who's that? We just said you could bring mashke for bikurim everything. So who's the one who says that bikurim is not? So I'll be sure he. So it goes like this. Bikurim, it says that not only the fruits, but also the liquid. That applies to all the fruits. So you learn truma from there, but then you make it, you minimize it for truma, for tirush v'itzer, for grapes and olives. Now that you learn truma, it's only grapes and olives, you bring it back to bikurim to say only grapes and olives. Back and forth. Truma is the source, the liquid is good. Tells you to Truma is only Tish V'Itzer. Truma is only Tish V'Itzer, Bikurim is also only Tish V'Itzer. So he says, you learn there, and then you bring it back. There's no malchus abayim when a person eats arlo. Only what grows from olives and grapes. Mani, who's that? Also Rabbi Shul. So you learn from there, we learn only specific things. The same thing, we take it to the next stage. Bikurim learns from Truma. That what? That it's only Tirish V'Yitzer, only by Novim and Zaysim. You say the liquid is like the fruit.
Is that a cloud bomb?
No, it's just this is the Matzino Xer Shava. So the Truma in Bikurim is a hekesh. Because it says, the one said before, Trumas Yotcha. Trumas Yotcha is Bikurim. It says the word Truma by Bikurim, so that's a hekesh. So just one more sentence. So you come to the Bikurim Truma by what? By a hekesh. So the word Kuchav Dalef. The mice the Orla pre Bikurim. Today we're going to show a pre from Bikurim to Orla. The same way by Bikurim, it's only olives and grapes. Also by Orla, liquid is only by olives and grapes. So once I have Truma that minimizes it to Tirish V'Yitzer, that teaches it to other parts, that's where the liquids apply. What do you want to ask?
Olives and grapes because the bracha goes higher.
That's a svar. It's a svar. That's my svar.
What's the story about olives?
Olives is Shemin Zayis.
So it's not because of the bracha. It's
Iluya. Chashivas. Yeah, Chashivas.
It has the same halakha as the fruit. By Shabbos, I remember Shem, the original Issa by, let's say, squeezing fruits. It's by Shem Zayis.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a chila, it's the same. Why should you be also? It's the same thing. It's the same.
Right, it's squeezing. Still squeezing.
But if you're taking this fruit, you're not accomplishing
no.
anything. If it's a fruit,
no. The Torah said that liquid is also good enough for Bikurim, for Truma, or to be Yosef Barlo. But now that's food, it's liquid. So it is. So this whole sugyos to come and tell me the liquid is like food. That's really what I'm trying to say. The liquid that comes out of it is like food. We had the Amudalef we started with, you have a special pasuk to tell you that chaylev, that by nevelo, that by chometz, liquid is going to be included. Then we go and learn other Yisurim, and we say we learn more from each other, it's only a Yisur Ba'am Eilov. What about the other ones? You learn from Bikurim, or Truma, Bikurim and Truma, Echad Nehanoch. That's how you know all the liquids, but then we come and have a limitation, it's not all liquids, according if you learn Domin Avuk Vaso, because once Truma is limited to Tishrein, so that may come and teach you back to Bikurim and... What?
I'm saying, once you say, okay, Truma is limited to Zaysim and Oven because of Domino Vuki.
Hasro.
Why when now you're going to back to Bikurim and back to Orla, do you also not say to them Vuki?
Because there you don't have Uki B'Hasro, it says otherwise. But Truma says clearly to Yishreitzer. There it doesn't say, it just says fruits. There's no limitations.
So you learn it exactly the same way you learn it.
Yeah, so it'll be like a regular Zosha. Back to that.